Minnesota Timberwolves shook up their roster before the start of training camp with a blockbuster three-team trade for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, Keita Bates-Diop, and a future first-round pick in exchange for Karl-Anthony Towns. The end of the Karl-Anthony Towns era in Minnesota seemingly came out of nowhere, and it was sort of, sad. I mean, Towns didn't want to leave the team that drafted him first overall in the 2015 NBA draft, and he seemed like the perfect fit alongside players like Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. Not to mention, the Wolves came off their best season in years. They had their best record since the 2003-2004 season. They knocked off, at the time, the defending champion Denver Nuggets and made it to the Western Conference Finals. Therefore, it seemed logical that this team was just going to run it back. However, the Timberwolves decided to roll the dice and make a drastic change. One that could either blow up in their face or work out for the best. In this one, I'm going to talk to you guys about what the trade means for the Timberwolves and what they're getting in Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. If y'all can do yourself a favor, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button for more content just like this, and shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. So many are still speculating about the trade and why the Timberwolves ultimately decided to do it. Finances probably played a big part in all of it. I mean, Minnesota insider and senior writer for The Athletic, John Krasinski, he recently talked about it, suggesting that the Timberwolves were going to be forced to choose between Cat or Naz Reid and Alexander Walker, and that the financial implications of Towns' new contract would have led to the team being forced to move off from Reid and Alexander Walker had they opted to keep Cat around. So that's big because, yeah, if the Timberwolves kept Cat, obviously that would have been a big piece that remains in their starting lineup, but potentially losing Reid and Alexander Walker would have been huge losses and detrimental to this team when you look at the future. I mean, those two provide much needed depth, and they do have solid defense and perimeter shooting. So keeping Cat, I mean, the Timberwolves, they would have had to pay out his massive contract while then searching for smaller contracts to fill that void. It would not have been an ideal situation when you just look at the long-term implications and the long-term future of this team. So it makes more sense why Minnesota management decided to pull the trigger on such a big move, because losing Cat is still a very, very big deal, but at least the Timberwolves get some pretty good players in return, and they set their future up a lot better. And recently, ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported that he's done his due diligence on the trade, and he's reached out to other NBA front office members. And according to Windhorst, the general perception of the deal around the league is that the Timberwolves came away as the trade's winner, saying, "I was kind of surprised over the last week at how many executives I talked to who felt like the Timberwolves won this trade. I think what they are reacting to is the way the Wolves were able to rebalance the roster in this trade, get Julius Randle, get Dante DiVincenzo, who helps them off the bench, get Rob Dillingham some time where he's not needed as much out of the gate, and also reduce their long-term payroll for a guy in Karl-Anthony Towns, who had a really big contract when Horst said." Now you look at Randle, guys, he's a much more physical player than Towns, and he likes to have the ball in his hands often, and he can be a driving force to the rim. The Wolves offense needed more shot creation, especially in that Western Conference Finals series against the Mavericks. Somebody besides Edwards to break the defense down and get a good look, and they're going to be getting that in Randle. As Randle, he's also superior facilitator. He posted a higher assist percentage and lower turnover rate than Towns over the last 5 seasons, and Randle can break defenders down off the dribble. He can draw help and really set up his teammates nicely. I mean, since 2020, only 4 players have notched the assists on more corner 3-pointers than Randle: Trae Young, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic. So Randle's playmaking and his ability to draw attention and kick it out, I think that's a very big part of his game. And there's no question that Randle, he's got plenty of talent. He averaged 24 points, 9.2 rebounds, and 5 assists per game last season. And while he's not as gifted of a shooter as Towns, he did nail 31.1% of his 3-pointers. So Randle is particularly capable of shooting the 3 from the corners. He hit that at a 50% clip from the corners last season. So that's going to actually be a huge key with helping space things with this Minnesota Timberwolves starting lineup. I know there's already concerns about how the spacing is going to look with this new Wolves lineup, but I think Randle is going to be able to help space the floor if he can continue to knock down those corner threes. When you look at the Timberwolves, and their projected win total for the season, the over-under, they're set at 52.5 on BetUS. The assumption is the Wolves are going to take a bit of a step back. I mean, they did win 56 games last year, but I think that number is fair. And if you think the Wolves aren't going to miss a beat and aren't going to see a decline in their wins this season, then this could be a nice little bet to place before the season starts. So guys, go check out BetUS today. I'll be using them all season long, and right now, if you sign up with BetUS, you can get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your second and third deposits up to $2,000 with the code YouTube150. All right, now let's get into the addition of Donte DiVincenzo. He not only helps spacing, but DiVincenzo is a knockdown three-point shooter coming off a career year with the Knicks. I mean, he averaged a career best 15.5 points per game last season. He hit on a 44.3% mark from the field and a 40.1% clip from three, the best percentage of his career. So DiVincenzo, he directly addresses the issue that the Wolves have had at times of hitting three-point shots. Towns was excellent from deep, but overall, the Timberwolves weren't a great three-point shooting team. DiVincenzo is certainly going to help in that regard, and he's going to be an excellent kick-out option when Edwards and even Randle attack the rim. He's going to be a huge weapon for this team from off the bench, and he will get more minutes than what he would have gotten with the Knicks. So I think this is actually going to be a huge opportunity for DiVincenzo. You can tell he's excited about it, and he's got a team-friendly contract, which helps the Timberwolves. And DiVincenzo said his confidence entering the season is at an all-time high. And I know it's just the preseason, but if you saw DiVincenzo in that game against the Lakers, I mean, he got off to a blazing hot start. He went 4 of 4 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3 for 11 points in 9 minutes. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come in Minnesota. So how exactly Coach Finch, pieces everything together and makes everything blend, that is going to be the interesting thing. I mean, the Timberwolves, they acquire 2 players who are definitely going to make an immediate impact and provide flexibility for the future, and could potentially help this team make an NBA Finals run. You look at this Timberwolves team, guys, does moving Cat for Randle and DiVincenzo ultimately make this team better and stay in title contention in a loaded West? Well, a lot of good things need to happen. I think, you got to ask yourself, can the reigning 6th man of the year, Naz Reid, replace some of Cat's production? Can he truly break out? Will Edwards show more growth? Can Finch make Gobert and Randle mesh well where there's no problems there? Can Conley and DiVincenzo have everybody on the same page and kind of be the floor generals, the leaders of this team? And can McDaniels take a leap? If those things happen, I think this Wolves team can contend and very well potentially make it out of the West. So you look at the Timberwolves, guys, they can once again finish with the league's best defense regardless of Towns not being there. And I think this offense is going to see improvement, and they could very well have a major leap this season. So we could be looking at not only a top-notch defense, but also a top-notch offense for this season. And you look at the projected starting 5 for this team: Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert. And then I think this bench has a chance to be really, really special. As I mentioned before, DiVincenzo, can he be the leader of the second unit? But you're going to have DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Joe Ingles, Alexander Walker, and then Rob Dillingham. He might just end up being the cherry on top. So this is a much more balanced Timberwolves team, and it actually looks really good. So we'll see if the Timberwolves can exceed everybody's expectations and end up having another big season. Let me know if you think the Timberwolves made the right move here, and how far do you think the new look Wolves will go. Guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And once again, shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. That is it for me as always. Thanks so much for watching. This is Lucas signing off. Until next time, stay blessed.